Welcome back, Dumbo Woods, and to our team at home as well. So today, the Dharma reading and Dharma talk are going to be kind of interesting in light of recent news and recent items in the news. We are going over purification is for all four castes. And some of you may have already guessed exactly where I'm going with this. So, where I want to start is the portion of the text that I have highlighted. We're not going to go over all of it because that would be kind of ultimately ends up being really long. And while it's important to note that this is what the Buddha said, we don't necessarily have to go over all of it to get the message that he's trying to get at, right? So, a little bit of backstory on this. In the Buddha's day, there were a number of different castes, which we might call classes today, or something similar. Basically, it's a social rank or social status. And according to the hierarchy of his day, there were certain castes which were better than others just by being born into them. We might again think of this as more along the lines of like our upper class versus our middle class versus our lower class. And they also had a caste or a class that was the untouchables, right? The caste you didn't go anywhere near. And the Buddha didn't really go along with this. He, in fact, was quite famous in his day for really going against the caste system. You know, the caste structure that essentially was being propagated and is still, to this day, kind of a thing in India, right? Kind of a thing in that area of the world. And the Buddha was totally against that, right? And we see that in this passage very clearly, right? So what this passage specifically is talking about is, as often happened, somebody from the Brahmin class, right? The clerical upper class, the rich and wealthy and super powerful, noble by birth class. They said, this guy is saying stuff against the caste structure that we have. We have to go and debate him and prove him wrong. Well, the Buddha may have had some certain other ideas about that. But they sent one of their guys who was reluctant at first and said, I don't know how to debate this guy. And they said, go figure it out anyway, go do it. And so he's like, all right, well, I'll go debate him, and that's a thing. And so he did. And starting off where I have it marked in blue, for those who are kind of trying to read along at home and who actually have in a copy of In the Buddha's Words, we are on page 133, shortly after number 5, where the Brahmin student Asalayana went with a large number of Brahmins, the rich upper class people, to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down to one side and said to the Blessed One, Master Gotama, the Brahmins say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste. Those of any other caste are inferior. Brahmins are the fairest caste. Those of any other caste are dark. Only Brahmins are purified, not non-Brahmins. Brahmins alone are the sons of Brahma, the offspring of Brahma, born of his mouth, born of Brahma, created by Brahma, heirs of Brahma. That is, we are divine by our very birth. We are the sons of the God, the huge God, the primary God in the Indic pantheon. What does Master Gotama say about that? Obviously, the Buddha is going to have some words. I do, bear with me, the first one is maybe a little bit more on the graphic side than it could be. Now, Asalayana, the Brahmin women are seen having their periods, becoming pregnant, giving birth, and nursing. And yet those Brahmins, though born from the womb, say thus, Brahmins are the highest caste, and so forth. Brahmins alone are the sons of Brahma, the offspring of Brahma, born of his mouth, born of Brahma, created by Brahma, heirs of Brahma. and Asalayana goes through his standard kind of counter for that, which he goes through again and again and again. I'm not going to repeat it every time, just know that he says this exact same thing every time. Although Master Gautama says this, still the Brahmins think thus. Brahmins are the highest caste, and goes through the whole thing, right? What do you think, Asalayana? Have you heard that in Yona and Cambodia and in other outland countries there are only two castes, masters and slaves, and that masters become slaves and slaves become masters? So I have heard, sir. Then on the strength of what argument or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins say, in this case say, Brahmins are the highest caste, there's a Brahma? Well, same deal. What do you think, Asalayana? Suppose Akatya, that's the warrior caste, right? What we might call the kind of like upper middle class, the movers and shakers of the ancient world. Suppose a warrior were to kill living beings, take what is not given, commit sexual misconduct, speak falsely, speak maliciously, speak harshly, gossip, be covetous, have a mind of ill will, and hold wrong view. With the breakup of the body after death, would only he be reborn in a state of misery in a bad destination, in a lower world, in hell, and not a Brahmin who did the same thing? Suppose a merchant or a worker were to kill living beings and so forth, and hold wrong view. With the breakup of the body after death, would only he be reborn in a state of misery, a bad destination, the lower world, in hell, and not a Brahmin who did the same thing? No, Master Gautama, whether it be a warrior, a Brahmin, or a merchant, or a worker, those of all four castes who kill living beings, such and so forth, and hold wrong view with the breakup of the body after death would be reborn in a state of misery, in a bad destination, in the lower world, in hell. Then on the strength of what argument, or with the support of what authority do the Brahmins say Brahmins are better than everybody else? Although Master Gautama says this, blah, 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 blah. What do you think, Asalayana? Suppose a Brahmin were to abstain from killing living beings, taking what is not given, and from sexual misconduct, false speech, malicious speech, harsh speech, from gossip, and were to be without covetousness, without a mind, to have a mind without ill will, and to hold right view. With the breakup of the body after death, would only he be reborn in a good destination in the heavenly world, and not a warrior, a merchant, or a worker? No, Master Gautama. Whether a warrior, a Brahmin, a merchant, or a worker, those of all four castes who abstain from killing living beings and hold right view with the breakup of the body after death will be reborn in a good destination in the heavenly world. Then on what are you, I'm going to paraphrase from here. Then on the strength of what are you saying that these guys are better? Well, we still think we're better. Right? What do you think, Asalayana? Is only a Brahmin capable of developing a mind of loving kindness towards this region, without hostility and without ill will, and not a warrior or a merchant or a worker? No, Master Gautama. Whether a warrior, Brahmin, merchant, or worker, those of all four castes are capable of developing a mind of loving kindness towards this region without hostility and without ill will. What do you think, Asalayana? Is only a Brahmin capable of taking a bathing brush and bath powder, going to the river, and washing off dust and dirt, and not a warrior or merchant or a worker? No, Master Gautama. Whether warrior, Brahmin, merchant, or worker, those of all four castes are capable of taking a bath brush and bath powder, going to the river, and washing off dust and dirt. And I'm going to stop the reading there, just because where I'm going with this, especially in terms of recent events, we are being told, right? We are hearing all across pretty much every means of communication that's available. We need to be washing our hands. We need to be washing our hands. We need to be clean. We need to be taking safety precautions, right? Because there's this virus out there. It's a thing. Well, can you wash your hands but not him? Nope. Can he wash his hands but not you? Nope. So there's really no basis for saying one is better than the other, right? We are all the same in that we all have the capacity, such as myself, to take the hand sanitizer, give it a squirt, and purify our hands. in a sense, right? We're all doing this. We are all of the same caste in this sense, right? Even though we are all in different social statuses, we are all different, different individuals. We all have the capacity to purify our hands with hand sanitizer. We all have the capacity to wash our hands. We all have the capacity to take basic safety precautions and basic health precautions. So what makes us different? And the Buddha's answer to that is very simple. What we do. It's not about caste. Caste does not matter to the Buddha, right? Class does not matter to the Buddha. Everybody is capable of becoming enlightened based on what we do, right? Our actions determine what kind of a person we are, not where we were born, who our parents were, whether or not we were born rich or poor or anything else. Our actions are the determinant. That is the one thing, the one key piece that differentiates us. We all have the capacity within us. We all have the ability, with the right actions, right, with the right effort, with the right view, with the right meditation, to seek and attain enlightenment. Caste does not matter. Class does not matter. We can all do this, much as we can all purify ourselves, with a little hand sanitizer, with a little bit of soap and water. We all have the capacity to do that. We all have the capacity for good, to do the right thing. It's what we do with that capacity that matters, not where we were born or who we were born to, not who we married, not who we live our lives, not who we, not what our job is. None of that is a determinant in whether or not we can, of our own volition, seek and possibly even find enlightenment. Our actions, what we do, that's the determinant. So the other thing that I wanted to kind of go off in that sense is that we're talking a lot about purification, right? We're talking about some castes can be purified and others can't. Nope, all castes can be purified. But what kind of purification are we talking about? Are we just saying it's the hands? Are we just saying the hand sanitizer will purify us completely? Nope. And this goes back to those who've been watching my channel for some time will know that I talk about Chulapantika a lot. And bear with me, because I know that Chulapantika is not such a big deal in the Theravada side of the house, but he is a big deal in the Mahayana side of the house, right? The idiot who found enlightenment just by sweeping, right? Just by cleaning up, right? We all have the capacity to purify our minds like Chulapantika did, right? Because he realized that when he was sweeping this dirt path, it was never going to get clean. That wasn't the objective. The objective was figuring out that he's not supposed to be sweeping the ground. He's supposed to be sweeping his mind, making his thoughts, getting towards right thought, right view, instead of right clean path, right? We all have that ability within us to see that, to align our views with compassion, to align our views with equanimity, to align our views with the right view, so that we have that capacity, we have that ability to take that next step and to work towards enlightenment. We can do that. And is it just captains in the army that can do that? No. It's all of us. Every single one of us. We have that ability. Let's make use of it.